AskReddit asks, Cops of Reddit, what is the most WTF moment you've experienced? EMT, but got to jump in on this one. We responded to a call at Motel 6 near Washington DC. We get to the room and there's a skinny guy in tidy whities at the door screaming incoherently. We go inside the room and see what he's pointing at. A dude about 300 pounds butt naked covered in baby oil that was completely unresponsive on a tarp. We try to get him on the stretcher but he keeps sliding off. We use the sheets and even curtains to try to get the oil off him, to no avail. We eventually have to call the fire department to help us get him up, and even when we get him on the stretcher he slides right off. Eventually we get him strapped in and take him to the hospital. He passed away without ever regaining consciousness. Apparently what happened was the married father of 3 flew to DC to meet his internet boyfriend. One of the kinks was the dude taking Ambien and letting the other guy sleep with him. Doctors suspect that the Ambien caused the epiglottis to relax and baby oil got into his lungs where it blocked his alveolar. I'm still curious about how notifying the family went on that one. Former cop was a rookie deputy and got this call that a man has got his foot caught in a garden tiller and was bleeding profusely. It was a 20-minute drive, running code, so I had time to plan out my actions. I figured the ambulance would be about 10 minutes behind me, so I was going to tourniquet above the knee, and I assumed he'd be unconscious and would need CPR. I get there in a big ass farm building with 2 guys just standing there smoking. I grab my medic bag. I run towards them to ask where the patient was, and they were white as a ghost just smoking while pointing behind them. I went inside, behind a big John Deere tractor, with a huge PTO driven tiller about 7 feet wide and 3 feet tall. There was my victim, with his back against the tractor tyre. His left leg was sucked into the tiller and wrapped twice around it, with the sole of the shoe next to his face and toe pointing towards the left. His femur shot out underneath the tiller and was beautifully white with no blood. He looked up at me and said, "Can you help me?" Now keep in mind, I'm 21. Thought this was a garden tiller and assumed I'd be able to do something, but I was completely out of my element. 2 ambulances, the rural fire department extraction team, a welding company to cut the machine apart on scene, a helicopter and a surgeon that came to amputate on scene. Later, he was finally free. I'm taking a slightly different approach in answering this question. A couple of months ago I got a QA, questionable activity call. It's a catch-all for anything suspicious. The caller stated she believed that someone had snuck in her backyard, climbed up onto a second-floor deck, and then left an imprint of their dick on her sliding door. I show up to the call about 5 minutes later, and she's mad at me because I didn't schedule an appointment to come over. And her kids saw me. She didn't want her kids thinking something bad had happened. After we get past her anger towards me for showing up, she shows me the glass sliding door in question. In all fairness to the caller, there was a sizable smudge and imprint on the glass. However, the imprint looked nothing like a penis I've ever seen. In fact, the imprint looked really similar to the dead bird laying on a deck next to the door. When I pointed out the dead bird and explained my belief that no dick had been placed on the door, the caller became incredibly irate and told me she moved to our city because it was supposed to be safe. But now she was thinking of moving away because naked people throwing dead birds at her house was more than she could handle. Realising I would not be able to rationalise with Dick Bird, I left and wrote my report. Some people don't deserve to call 911. One time we get a call about a minor wreck in the highway corridor. We get there, I'm handling the accident. 100 yards down there is a car on flats, and another further down from that. Unrelated to the accident, one of the drivers walked back to us and told us a sketchy guy had been stopping at these cars to offer his help in fixing the flats. The theory was that he threw something on the road to flatten the tyres so that he could help and get money from the drivers. I'm stuck at the back end of this mess on the radio trying to get another unit to detain the shady guy. All of a sudden I look over and there's a guy in nothing but a hospital gown and an IV hanging out of his arm, just tootling along the shoulder. The nearest hospital was several miles away, so I have no idea how he covered that distance with nobody noticing. So here I am with 1, a car wreck, 2, a guy possibly flattening tyres on purpose, and 3, an escaped hospital patient, all completely unrelated on a major highway late at night. I found 3 kids one day running next to a busy highway. The oldest was 5. We finally got them identified and figured out they lived about a mile away. We got there. They were in care of their adult 20-ish sister while their parents were on vacation for 2 weeks. The sister decided she'd rather pop Xanax and smoke weed than deal with the kids, so she locked them in their bedroom for about 10 days, occasionally sliding food and water past the door. There were piss stains on the baseboards in the bedroom from where the kids had decided their bathroom should be. Finally, the 5-year-old had enough and figured out how to unlock the bedroom window and make a break for it. That's nowhere near the darkest stuff I've seen. We don't like to talk about it. Edit. Sorry folks, I worked nights and just woke up. She went to jail for endangering a child, and as far as I know the case is still pending. The kids were seized by the CPS and held by a foster family overnight until the parents could drive home. Too many to choose from, I forget them all, so how about some non-fatal ones that are kinda upbeat? Car in a pond. Guy brought the car, hated it, got so angry he literally drove it into a pond and they left. Ticket for littering, because I jumped in to see if anyone was in the car. Car wrecked in a tree. In a tree, like up in the middle of the branches. I just don't know how. Half missing, decomposing dead body from natural death. Turned out the many cats in the house ate half that person. Okay, that one's gross. A ride-along had a warrant and got tased by the officer they were with, trying to run from. That was more of a WTF moment, hearing it over the radio. Guy going through a divorce and decided to renovate his house at 2 a.m. with a sledgehammer by taking out all the walls and furniture because his future ex got awarded the house. Didn't arrest him. Will steal his house. Just keep the noise down, please. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. I will be releasing more videos shortly.